What's going on, everybody? This is your boy Mitch of Mitchpiration. If it's your first time coming to my channel, welcome. If you're back for your numerous time, as I always say, you could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me. This channel is all about life, manhood, motivation, and spiritual development. Disclaimer, I'm a dad, so don't mind the toys in the background. This is kind of like my son's play area behind me. But today, man, it's a new installment of Just My Thoughts. I haven't talked about this ever, but I want to start talking sports a little bit more, man. So I just want to share a little bit about my thoughts on what this transfer portal situation looks like, man. And I think since the transfer portal inception, it's been a very interesting dynamic for college sports, especially football specifically. Um, I think the portal is beneficial because here's my thing, right? I think a lot of players feel pressure to pick the team they want to do their years in college at, based on visitations to the school, conversations with the coach. They're told a multitude of things, and just because they're told they're going to start, they're going to get this much playing time, they're going to play this position, doesn't mean that's going to happen. And in most cases, or I shouldn't say most cases, in some cases, the things they're told or their experience doesn't turn out to line up with what they were told. And so they look for another place to expose their talent. So, in that regard, having a transfer portal is great. I just think the problem with the transfer portal now is the number of times that you can transfer is just kind of over the top, man. And I think the problem with the transfer portal is number one, it's like an easy out for these guys, right? So if they're playing at a school, the school doesn't have a good season. Let's say they don't enter bowl game status, so they don't go to a bowl game. They're gonna be like, "Oh, my school is trash. Let me transfer to a school that's gonna get me to a bowl game." But in doing that, that doesn't guarantee that the school they go to will allow them to start and play ball there. So there's a lot of factors that I think players should be considering when it comes to the transfer portal, but I mean, who am I? I'm a spectator. I'm not a scholarship athlete, none of that. But these are, like I said, just my thoughts, man. So while I do think the transfer portal is like super beneficial for these young guys, I think it comes with its own like detriment too. So for me, I'm looking at it from a standpoint of like just mental fortitude, right? So, obviously, if you're not in a good situation, definitely leave, go somewhere where you can be better taken care of, better utilize, things like that. But ain't no transfer portal in the NFL. And so, if players know they have this satisfaction of using the portal or see it as an out when things don't go their way, I don't think that particularly plays to their advantage, especially if they have the capacity to be a pro athlete in the NFL. We know how drafts work. The lower performing teams get the earlier picks because they need the more talented players to come and help their teams be successful. But how does that? How do players feel about that? Yeah, they're getting a nice paycheck, but they're also getting paid now through these NIL deals too. So that's neither here nor there. So my point is just more so that like, what are schools doing, or what are players doing to not blur the line of understanding like how to stay true to your team and how to go out and compete at a high level, win, lose, or draw, and doing it for your team. Um, and I think that's just a dynamic that will constantly be changed over time. But like literally, like just going online and social media and seeing the amount of times players are leaving schools, I'm like, dang, bro, like you ain't even get your footing here and you already leaving. Like, you know, hopefully at your next school you'll perform and do what you need to do because it would suck for you to transfer and then you not be successful there either. So I think there's just some pros and cons when it comes to the transfer portal. And I just say that once again as a spectator. And so, like I said, I do feel the transfer portal is super beneficial, but I also feel like players, even players now that are in high school, need to be paying attention to what this portal is and understanding its purpose. The portal isn't made for you to jump from school to school when things don't go your way. I'm going to say that again. The portal isn't made for you to jump from school to school when things don't go your way. The portal is made for you to have an opportunity to take your talents to another institution of higher learning that can better cultivate your skills and get you ready for the higher level of sports, which would be pro ball. Now, I'm speaking just from a college football standpoint because I see more players transfer from college football more, but it is happening in the basketball realm of things as well. Um, I know, especially during COVID, players were definitely making a lot of moves, but I see it more relevant and more prevalent in the college capacity, college football capacity. And so, if you're trying to go to the NFL, once you with a team, you with a team. Ain't no, you bold to ask for a trade, especially if you didn't perform at a high level. But more times than not, if you a rookie, you're locked into some things that you can't get out of contractually. Your team, whether they perform well or not, you're responsible to do your thing, no matter what the rest of those guys on your team do. And so, a lot of these college guys, they come from winning cultures. They like winning. And sometimes you got to know what it's like to lose, too. I think when you constantly win, sometimes winning is taken for granted, man. And so a lot of these players that go to college, go to winning programs, then when they get into the NFL and they're on a losing team, they lose their passion for football. They lose their enthusiasm for the game. And I think that's the biggest problem. I think players have to be able to see both sides. Now, of course, everybody wants to win. That's a given. But I also believe it's super important that players actually lose, whether it's on a big stage or a regular season game, whatever. But yeah, sometimes winning and losing is what causes players to enter the portal. How they're treated determines whether they enter the portal or not, whether the coaches who recruited them are true to their word. Family situations happen. So there are legitimate reasons why players are entering the portal and are transferring to other schools. And I do not knock them for that at all. But I'm seeing other players just leaving one school because either there's another player coming up that can potentially take their spot and they're going to another school because they got a guaranteed starting position. Like some things, like it's okay to battle for your starting position. That's going to make you better as a player. But if you're running from the smoke, then I don't know what you're going to do in the NFL because there's going to be at least 5 to 6 people fighting for the same position you're in every single day. You see starting quarterbacks in the NFL getting pulled out after one bad game. The tolerance level for low performance and failure is very low in the NFL. So you really, really, really got to perform at a high level. And sometimes it may mean sticking at your same college or really learning what it looks like to lead a team and get your team to where they need to be. So when you're groomed and cultivated in that, going to the league will make you more of a seasoned player. They won't just want you because of your athletic ability. They'll want you for what you can do from a leadership standpoint, a camaraderie standpoint, and understanding the value of like buying into systems. And so, yeah, man, I think, like I said, the transfer portal is a beautiful thing, especially if you need it. But the way some of these players are handling the portal, I think it kind of disrespects the game a little bit. I come from an era, speaking as a millennial, I come from an era where you picked a school and you stayed there. And the only reason you transferred is because something monumental or super vital has happened. Like I said before, a life change, whatever the case may be. But more times than not, players stayed at the school they chose to go to. Up, down, good, bad, or ugly, they stayed there. Now we've opened up this window of opportunity to a new generation of athletes. And I feel like these kids are mentally weaker than our generation of athletes were. We can argue about that another day. But I just feel like at this point, yeah, man, with the kids not having the mental fortitude or capacity to really stick it out when they can stick it out, I think using the transfer portal is just the easy way out for them. And that's not growing them as men or as athletes, because regardless of whether you play at the next level in the NFL or not, you're still a man. And character is a big part of what make men who they are. And there's going to be some moments where you got to grow up and learn some things and get better and do better. So, I think that's all part of the grind, man. So, I don't know if y'all agree or disagree with my take on this. But it's just my thoughts about the transfer portal, man. I feel like it's been something that I've been wanting to talk about, but just haven't gotten the time to get back around to. But yeah, especially at the collegiate level, college football specific, the transfer portal is bananas. Now, I will say there are some cases where guys have transferred and it was the best decision they could have made for themselves in improving their draft stock. So I can't knock it. I'm not knocking the transfer portal. I'm saying it's a resource, but it also has to be managed and navigated well. And so when you have resources that aren't managed or navigated well, they get kind of dumbed down and people second guess, like, does this transfer portal stuff really matter? Is it that important? Because this is what sports is going to look like from here on out. I'll probably talk about NIL next, but this NIL stuff definitely contributes to the transfer portal as well. But I just love to hear y'all's feedback. Comment down below what y'all think about the state of college football, the state of college sports with the transfer portal, specifically targeting basketball and football. What schools do you see that are using the portal effectively to improve? What schools are not using the portal and they should be? Like, I would love to have conversations about all that. So, like, definitely comment down below about that stuff. I want to talk sports a little bit more in my Just My Thoughts series. I just wanted to start that today. These are just my thoughts about the transfer portal. It's a resource that has to be navigated correctly. And when you navigate it correctly, you can be successful. All right, y'all. That's my time. Until next time, y'all be safe. This is your boy Mitch of Inspiration. And this has been another installment of Just My Thoughts. Peace.